Hey guys, how you going? Dan here. So today I'm here with Angus and his GQ patrol. So yeah, we're just going to do a bit of a fast five. So I've got 5 questions that I want to ask Angus and see what his reply is. So, what drives your interest and passion for 4-wheel driving?
Just really getting out in the bush with mates.
Yeah.
Just having a good time, whether it's camping, whether it's 4-wheel driving, spending time with close mates. It's just really getting out there, getting out of the house.
Yep.
Is probably the main one.
Yep. So what would you prefer? Takeaway meal or a home cooked meal?
It's a tricky one. Both are good. Definitely a good hearty meal at home is good, but I just can't go past is in the box.
Yep.
On the way back home from the bush, you just can't beat it.
Yeah. Being out there all cold in the mud, you just need that something hot to eat. Yeah.
Out in the cold, especially. Like recently, we came back from the Alpine area.
Yep.
Out in the snow. Just recently, my last trip. So that was really cold.
Yeah. Alright, so what would be your favourite meal?
Probably mum's spaghetti bolognese.
Yep.
Or my girlfriend's butter chicken with homemade naan bread.
Yeah, nice.
Bit of garlic butter, parmesan and some salt.
Yep, sounds good.
It's awesome.
Sweet. So, something that I thought about with these questions was it's been on my mind a lot, so I'll be asking each and every person that I sort of interview, what would be your preferred style of camping? Swag, tent, rooftop, etc.?
You're asking me really good questions because for me personally I like the swag because you can set it up on the ground, and then if you want to go out 4-wheel driving, if you've got a base camp, you can leave the swag there, you can leave your bags of clothes in there, and you can go out driving. But with a rooftop tent, you got to pack it down each time. I know some rooftop tents, they open up and they close down pretty easy, but I guess depends on how much bedding you've got in there. You need to pull it all out, put it in the car or something like that. Yeah. I do prefer swags.
Yep.
Just because of their simplicity.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say swags.
Swags. Alright. So, another one is, do you prefer solo or group camping adventures?
Groups.
Groups?
Yeah.
Do you have a reason behind that?
Just because if anything goes wrong,
Yep.
I'm a big overthinker when it comes to pretty much anything.
Yep.
What happens if I fall over and break my leg? What happens if I cut myself on cutting up steak?
Yep.
I've got a first aid kit in the car.
Yep.
But what happens if I cut my finger halfway down?
Yep.
And I'm bleeding out pretty hard. It's hard to do things one-handed. If there's someone there in case of an emergency,
Yep.
you've got someone there.
Yep.
If you need to do anything that needs multiple hands, you got multiple hands there.
Yeah.
And plus, I feel like just being out in the bush with your mates, as I said, getting out there with your good mates, it's just a better time, in my opinion.
Yep. Yep. When you're out with your mates and that, like, is there times or moments where you do feel like you want to be on your own, take that moment, you find that special spot, you just want to get away from your mates, or do you want to, be around them the whole time you're out and about? So.
Occasionally I do like to be on my own. I have a pretty small social battery. It can wear out if there's, like a big party going on and I'm not quite in the mood or whatever. Like I might sort of separate myself for 10-15 minutes and then I'll be, recharged.
Yeah.
I can't really say there's been that many camping events or camping trips I've been on that I need time alone.
Yep.
Because I have the intent to go out there with my mates.
Yep.
So I'm sort of mentally prepared that I'm going to be with my mates all the time. unless something unexpected happens and we're meant to have like a cool, quiet camping trip, you know, a couple of drinks around the fire or whatever, and then all of a sudden, birthday party shows up and everyone's ranting and raving on, and it's just like, oh, I was ready for bed 10 minutes ago. Other than that, no.
So, camping. So, when you find a campsite, do you have anything that you prefer to be, you know, close to? Like, you know, you'd prefer to be, you know, up on top of a, you know, a hill or a mountain with a nice view, or would you prefer to be down in the valleys and gullies, or, you know, next to a water source or something like that?
I prefer next to a water source, even on the cold winter days, because there's always water in excess for if you need to clean pots and pans, you need excess water from the jerry for, you know, topping up wash a bottle, cleaning off headlights or anything like that. Because generally when it's wetter, you know, your car does get pretty filthy. If you're heading out back onto the roads, you need to clean everything up to make the law enforcers happy.
Yep.
Just do everything you can to make it better for you and better for them. But I can admit I've had some pretty good campsites. I can't really remember what they're called. That have had some pretty amazing views, you know, overlooking all the hills and valleys and stuff.
Yeah.
It does make it pretty surreal to know that we're in a country that you can quite easily access that and see those amazing views and not just look at it on a postcard.
Yeah.
Like this area here, there's quite a few postcards that are very significant photos, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm 5 minutes away from them, you know.
Yeah. Gotcha. That's right. Do you have campsites that are sort of like kept to yourself? Like, do you have secret campsites that you found and maybe, you know, only share with your exclusive friends?
Yes. There is one boys trip that I went on to. The girls had a Galentine's night, so it was just all the boys. It's in Nearham somewhere. Can't remember what road it was on. Or if I did, I wouldn't want to say. Yep. But it's close to my heart because not only did there used to be a little cabin there at some point, many moons ago, but where it is, there's a lake that comes across, and then it goes, a river I should say, it comes across the bottom of the campsite and it goes across. It's not big, you can probably only fit 6 or 7 cars in there, and that would be tight knit.
Yep.
And it's just out of the way. You can't hear any cars roaring up tracks at night. You can't hear other people playing, you know, loud music, drum and bass, whatever they're into.
Yep.
It's just nice and peaceful.
Yep.
And it just feels a lot more exclusive.
Yep.
Because you're there with your mates.
Yeah.
You're not there with, you know, Anthony down the road, you know, having a quiet campfire with his small family, and you know, you're intruding on their peace.
Yep.
It's just you and your mates.
Yep. Got it up.
Yeah. It's probably not any bigger than the bottom of the court here.
Yep. Got it up. Jeez. Oh, nice and secluded and hidden.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my favourite memory, it's a half memory because I don't really remember it because I got quite wasted that night. One of my best mates' younger brother, he ended up cooking up some burgers for me, and there's just a photo of me absolutely maggoted, just going like that, with the burger in my hand. Yeah.
Nice. So everyone's been obviously watching, and you know, obviously been looking at the GQ behind us. So might get Angus to just give us a it could be an extensive rundown, but just a rundown of his GQ and what it's sort of, what he uses it for, I guess. So
Happy for that.
Tell us a bit about it.
So there's a lot of places I could start. I'm just going to call it an abomination because it's got lots of different makes of cars in there. Obviously it is a Nissan. That'll turn some people away. But it's a 91 91, 92 GQ base with a 90s TD in there. Had that engine for I'd say 7 years now, and it's been pulled apart and put back together like Frankenstein. Had this chassis and body for I'd say 3 years. Just an amalgamation of different parts. So we'll go through it soon.
Yep.
So start from the back, the most simple. Just got a soft shackle recovery hitch. It's only new, so it's probably just going to stay in constantly. Real basic setup in the back. Just got the cooking and camping stuff in here. You know, plates, cups, bowls, awning pegs and straps, disinfectant wipes, girlfriend's old chefing equipment, and we just got a cooker there. So super basic. In there, just in the back here, we got a whole amalgamation of tools in the front, and then I got some of my spare parts in there, so spare hubs, wheel bearing kits and everything, all the essentials. In the side pockets there's not really anything too major, so that's pretty much the back. I do have these hockey straps in here with the way that I pack it up. You know, I've got bits and pieces down here, and then I do put some stuff up on the top there, and they just sort of stop everything from falling forward because I don't have a cage or anything in the back. So
Yep, gotcha.
that's it for the back. Super simple, not too complicated.
Yep.
We'll come around the back on the side here. And just in here, it gets a little bit more complicated, but not too crazy.
Yep.
Come around the other side. So it's a little bit more complicated here, not too much. I'm definitely no electrician, but two 12-volt batteries here, hooked up to 24 volt in a custom battery tray I made that ties into the lithium 12-volt battery here, and then just down here outside of the view of the camera there's a isolator here for the 24 volt, so just in case something happens, you know, it won't short out or anything past that point. I just need to modify the tray a little bit so I can get another strap over this, but it's pretty snug in there. And then we've got the 12 volt 135 amp hour lithium battery, and that runs the fridge that just normally sits here, but I pulled that out recently because we just came back from a camping trip, so cleaned all that out. Normally got a sub that lives in here, amplifier, the kick-ass battery charger that does 40 amps, and that does it has solar input, but you can prioritize alternator or solar, and it can do every single battery type there is. I've got it set it up for the lithium. Obviously I don't want to blow it up and have the car catch on fire. And then we've just got a small little power box there, does everything I need it to, you know, charge work lights, phones, cameras, and then we've got some camping lights that just plug in here, and just a little 12 volt heated blanket just to take the chill off the air when you get into the swag in those real snowy environments. It just helps that little bit. The only thing with the 24 volt is I need to change the earth position for it. I want to go into the chassis, not down to that small point there. I think it's just a little bolt there. And just underneath the passenger seat is where my 5 metre tree trunk protector sits. Nice and easy to get to for whoever's being the passenger princess or winch bitch or whatever. Most of the time it's my girlfriend that doesn't know how to use them, but I'm training her up, getting her there. She's pretty good. Nothing specific in these bloody trays. Don't use them. And probably the most important seat is this one here. For anyone that wants to join in on the fun and the carnage and witness me destroying this car, they can see it from all there.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's pretty much it. And then up front here, just got some older leather Falcon seats. Had them for probably 5 years now, and they're well past their use by date. You know, the leather's coming off. This doesn't have the bolster on the side, but been saying to myself for the last 2 years, I'll get to it one day. So, and that hasn't happened.
Should do.
Got a Pulsar steering wheel. I think it's an N15 or N14, the pre-airbag ones. Smaller, a little bit more ergonomic, because these seats, they sit you up a bit higher, and I've got a little bit bigger legs, so the smaller steering wheel helps. Does make it a bit hard to turn wheels, but you don't really worry about that. Got boost gauge, EGT gauge, and water temp gauge. Pretty basic, pretty simple. Got the 6 gauge dash cluster on here. Very basic, you know, heater controls, radio controls. Just a UHF there, phone mount, and then the 24 volt gauge there. Other than that, it's basically bog stock inside the car.
Yeah, very well.
Super simple, which is what I like to keep.
Yep.
Because my old wagon used to be not TI, but it had electric mirrors and electric windows, and the last year of ownership I spent over $1,000 in window parts. And it just got too much.
Yep.
So basic, rudimentary is better.
Yep.
For my application at least.
Yeah.
But
beautiful.
yeah, we'll get to the outside now.
Yeah, that's it.
So on the outside, you can probably see that the bar work is a little bit more extensive than your regular four-wheel drive. Front and rear bar were made by my old boss at Bitters 4-wheel drive. Super awesome bar work. Can't complain whatsoever. I've definitely hit a few trees and rocks with them, and they've held up so far. But the front and rear scrub bars and the sliders are made by myself and a good mate of mine. He taught me how to use a pipe bender and basics of welding, and I took on from there.
Yeah.
So, as I said, not your typical four-wheel drive in terms of bar work, but we've made it work, and I feel like we've made it pretty sleek and tie into the car nicely. It doesn't stick out too far here. The kicker doesn't come out too far, but it's enough to try and push the car away, which you can see I've definitely done that a few times down there. And then we've got just a nice and easy cam lock that they use in roll cages. Makes it nice and easy, but to pull the scrub bars and sliders off is a 3-man job.
Really?
Yeah. You got one person under there doing the 12 bolts underneath. You got one up the front to undo that bolt, and then you got another one here undoing this, and then it's going to swing out and then back. Because the way that this front here works is it just slips over
Okay.
and then bolts in.
Yep.
So it's a bit tricky to pull off and put back on again, but most of the time you don't really take it off.
Yep.
And then for a really, really recent addition, I'm talking only 2.5 weeks, here's my roof sliders. They came up really nice. The welds aren't the best. I'm not a qualified welder at all. I'm just someone that makes it work. Tied it in really nice. Had to modify the gutter up here a little bit, cut that back off, and you can see it goes into the body. So I've used seam sealer to seal it all up and colour match the paint to the faded paint. I think it came up really, really nice. And then we made some roof bars, just so I can mount my 270-degree awning when I go on those touring trips. And that's new again. Works beautifully. The awning didn't rip off at all when it was tied down, so I can't complain with that one. But this is the good side of the car. It's not damaged enough.
Yep.
Show you the other side. I was a bit sad when this happened. All this, and then the same log that was there, I steered away from it, and then it sat up on here, and then did all this damage. So, not something I'm happy about, but it's just one of those things when you do the tougher tracks and
you get that with 4-wheel driving.
That's exactly right. When you take your car to those more extreme places that the comp truck boys go to, you got to expect damage.
Yep.
And it's not a show car. It's never going to be one.
Yep.
I'm not too phased, but it does hurt the soul a little bit when you get the car and it was clean.
Yeah.
And yeah, just one of those things, I guess.
So what winch are you running on this?
It's a Warn 8274 high mount winch. I basically bought it in this format off one of my old boss's best mates. It's got the upgraded Warn motor on there. So there's an Albright solenoid in the back, just behind the grill, where all these cables are running to. It's got a bigger pin brake shaft, and it's also braced as well. It does have this nicer stainless steel bear lead on there, with a big hook that I did break the safety clip off before. Other than that, it's pretty much standard in terms of high mounts. It's running 24 volt, as I showed you earlier, on 90mm speed cable. So it's got a lot of power going to it. Definitely not shy of power, that's for sure. Other than that, that's all there is with the winch, really.
Yep. So yeah, obviously the moment everyone's been waiting for is I guess they're wanting to see what's under the hood and, you know, let you talk a little bit about it, see what you have done.
Yeah, of course. There's a bit in there, but it's not as hectic as some people might think. It's basic, but it's aftermarket. First thing you'll notice is the bonnet gas struts, the conversion I just did recently as well. There is a bit going on, but there's not. So obviously it's a silver top TD42 engine, big high mount turbo there, with the Patrol Doctor 4-inch snorkel and airbox. I did change it to the 9-inch K&N pod filter instead of running the Donaldson style truck filter in there, as they do let a bit of dust through. I've seen people within the winch truck community actually dust their nice expensive LS engine, so that did scare me from that, especially since the filter was only $100, 150 or something. And then, you know, dig welding another piece on, I paid someone $50 for it cash, so $200, and it saves me another engine. Just running an Arashi high mount turbo. It's an 18G with a custom compressor wheel and turbine wheel. But I've also changed the compressor housing to an RMS performance with the T51R mod housing. Only thing that changes is induction noise, so that's all just personal preference. All the intercooler piping, induction piping were all made in-house, so it's all just mild steel tacked together. Works perfectly fine. I don't see my EGT temperatures get up or anything like that. They don't creep. It doesn't sound the nicest, but it sounds pretty good. Again, functionality over form. I don't need the nicest, shiniest things on my car, as long as it all works and performs well. One thing you'll probably notice is, apart from the turbo, is the second alternator I've got here. Currently it's not wired up or anything like that, but I did have to custom make a bracket for it to sit there. But all I need to do is just wire it up and earth it, and should be good to go. Obviously fuse it, I don't want anything melting. Other than that, it's pretty much a basic engine bay. There's not a whole lot going on. It's just 2.5-inch intercooler piping. There's a front mount intercooler tucked away in the front, and obviously I've got the winch in the way, and then the intercooler. There's aircon condenser, but no actual aircon working, and then the thick radiator. And behind all that, you'll be able to see that there's a new model UFI upgraded fan in there, and that really helps out with water temperature and EGTs. You can actually, at idle, you can feel the air being pulled through past that high mount winch. So there is a lot of airflow going through there. Again, super basic, just got a small catch can. That's about it.
Yep.
Super basic.
Alright. Did you want to start it up and give the viewers a listen?
Yeah, 100%. I'll blow it twice though.
Yeah. So Angus, I noticed something else that's sort of hidden down there, part of the turbo, something tacked onto the exhaust there.
Yeah.
Did you want to explain that?
Yeah, that's the party section right there. When I'm getting into my work a little bit, above 35 psi, little tube opens up called a screamer pipe. Makes a lot of noise. So it's nice and tucked away, real hidden. Unless you're really looking for it, you can see it just through here in front of the wrapped dump pipe. Just this tube, just here. One thing you would have noticed too is it sounds a bit lumpy, this car. I feel like it sounds different to other TDs. There's not really anything different about this engine apart from the way that I've made the exhaust. Because of the body lift in this, I'm able to route the exhaust slightly different. And I feel like there's some slight different bends that might make it sound the tiniest bit different. It just sounds a lot more grunty.
Yep.
Not like a Mack truck, but it sounds a lot deeper than other TDs.
Yep. I did notice that it did sound slightly different to your typical TDs with work and stuff done to it.
Yep.
So
but like, don't get me wrong, this engine's fully worked. It's fully rebuilt turbo spec. So yeah, and it performs like that too. It does real hard pulls. EGTs don't get too hot. You know, it can go up big hills in 5th gear without EGTs creeping. I tuned it myself, but I do want to get it professionally tuned by someone I know, and he does really good tuning. So yeah, I'll probably end up taking it to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'd just like to conclude and say thank you to Angus for coming on the very first, channel recording that I've made for my channel. I'm hoping to get out there and do a lot more and travel, all over Victoria basically, and just see where it goes, and yeah, just talk to other like-minded people like Angus, just that real people use their 4-wheel drives for real things. And yeah, I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but not those Instagram cars, those pretty paint job type stuff. So, but yeah, if you guys like this content and want to see more, just yeah, like and subscribe, and share it around. Tell your friends if they want to be part of it. Reach out, send me a message, and I will get back to them. Thanks Angus.
No worries, mate.